This year I focus a lot on like fine art and shit like that. So I was making a lot of canvases, doing a lot of shows and stuff. From the previous year, I was more like airbrushing and shit like that.
And when you're
But
doing when you do a show like in a different city and stuff, do you fly there and make all the work in that city?
it depends. Uh, yeah, I mean, I make art wherever I go. Pretty much, it's just like second nature to me at this point.
Hmm.
I just try and like stay productive and always just make as much shit as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, next year probably focus more on like making my own clothing, doing my own clothing line, things like that.
Okay,
Cause
fresh.
I learned a lot through working with these companies and like learned a lot about the process and the back end of it and shit.
Yeah.
So now it's time for me to apply that knowledge in my own way with no limitations or no yeses or nos and fucking just do it like truly how I want to do it, you
Yeah.
know? So I'm excited for that. But I'm gonna just keep expanding, trying different mediums and stuff. Like,
Mm.
I fucked with the airbrush heavy for a minute there, but I don't want to limit myself just to the airbrush. So I want to start fucking with like different types of mediums. Maybe fuck with the oil. I just recently started messing with ceramics.
I saw the
So
ceramic stuff. That looks great, actually. I was
d-
super hyped to see that.
yeah, I'm gonna just keep trying different shit because there's so much different shit to do, you know?
Right, right. I think like working with aerosol, like for me, the way that it went was just, yeah, I drew when I was younger. Like if you ask my mom, she'll be like, yeah, he's been an artist since he was like a little child.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like when I got into graffiti, it occupied so much of my mind, and my creative output just went all through that. And
Yeah,
I remember being like anti art almost, like being like, no, I'm not an artist, I'm a vandal.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I did that for a long time, and then once I started kind of opening my mind up, it like flooded in. Like I was like, oh, there's no like learning about conceptual art, for example. Like you don't even have to make things with your own hands. You could conceive of an idea, and that could be a work of art. You know, like it just
Hmm.
opened my mind up so much instantly, and then I tried a million different things, and I feel like that's still what I'm doing to this day is like experimentation all the time. But working with spray paint specifically is kind of like it spoils you in a way a little bit because of the opacity and the immediacy of like the material, as
Hmm.
opposed to like working with oil, which is like more finicky. Like, and I never touched airbrush kind of for the reason that I feel like spray paint sort of ruined like working with other materials for me. Like I didn't know how to slow down so much, you know. Like I see people painting, like making an oil painting is almost like doing a puzzle or something like that. And my mind never worked like that. I always worked on like a huge scale, you know, and like always like working very fast, using my arm, my whole like body to make marks, you know.
Hmm.
um are you working like that in the studio? Like is it all like, have you noticed anything like that, like when you're working with different materials? Like do you find it challenging, or do you feel like it's like exciting?
I have fun with it, really. Like, I just try to always have fun with it. Fucking just go crazy, really, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Like, I put my body into it sometimes if I'm going big, but the airbrush is like a pretty, like, what's that shit called? Like, not technical, but it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of small parts and shit.
Yeah,
It's like kind of finicky, I guess you could say, where it's
sure.
just like you got to keep that shit clean and you got to like make sure that all the parts are working right on it, make sure the needle's not fucked up.
Yeah, like
I
when you
don't know.
see
It's
artists
just
going in with the detail with airbrush, like, are you like, that's like beyond what I want to get into? Like,
well, that was just never my approach. My approach was always just like keep it simple.
yeah,
I was never like kind of even learning from graffiti and stuff of just like oh like I'm not trying to be over here like blowing on lines and
right.
fucking taping shit off and shit.
Yeah, definitely.
I was more like okay, I just want it to be simple, straight to the point, and like easy to understand
For
from
sure.
like a young ass kid to like a old ass person or like a English speaker or a fucking Japanese speaker or Spanish speaker. Like I wanted it to be kind of like universal in the way that graffiti is. You know, it's like fools throw ups whether it's fucking they're from here or they're from fucking Italy or something.
Right.
You know, like that's one major thing I fuck with about graffiti is like that common understanding no matter where you go.
Yeah.
So that kind of comes with the language that is translated in my work as well.
It's funny hearing you say that out loud because that's like perfectly conducive to marketing, you know what I mean, or product development, like what you just described. And maybe it's not intentional or whatever, but something that's universally recognized, like easily recognized across the board. I feel like that's like a lot of artists will go to school and learn to like make stuff that excludes a whole lot of people, you know what I mean? It'll be like intellectually higher or like technically so proficient that you see it and you're just like, oh, I can't do that, and that's why that is good, you know. Like there are all these different, you know, approaches, but what you're doing, I think it makes sense for like everything that you have going on. Like,
well, I mean, that's just where I came from, you know. It's like with graph, it's like there's the throw up, there's the stamp, you know.
Yeah,
that's your stamp.
Yeah,
and it's like in a way you could even say that's marketing. Like fools
definitely
are just out here like, to put it into another viewpoint, it's just like, oh, like, all right, I got to go out tonight. I have to go market myself.
Definitely.
I have to go fucking make a big ass marketing billboard,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, that's what it is. Like low key, like I was saying about the Batman shit or whatever, like you kind of create this like avatar character that is whatever you think of yourself as a graffiti writer, you know what I mean? Or at least that's what I did when I was younger. Like I was like the smallest kid, you know what I mean? So who I wanted to be in graffiti was going to be somebody that's tough, or you know what I mean? You could do that. You could craft a whole different person. But not saying that everybody does that, you know what I mean? But that's just like definitely a potential there.
Yeah, I mean, it always just depends on fools' approach and like why they do it, you know, and like what they want to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I always kept it separate, because I'm just like, that shit, I want my art to just stand on its own 2 feet and be able to walk around and mob around and do what it does, you know?
For sure.
And fucking, yeah, I think it's, because you see a lot of fools do the transition of like going from graph to like doing fine art and shit, but I feel like, I don't know, there's something like cool that's of like graph that is just graph, you know? Like there's an essence there that I feel like is kind of lost once fools get in the studio and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, in all reality, in my eyes, I guess, but whatever.
No, it's true. It's true. There's people that are pure. They'll always be known for doing that, you know what I mean? But you pay a price, you know what I mean? You're like limited in your existence. Like, I don't know. I can't like edit myself down to be that though, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm always just going to be somebody that's like I don't even feel like I identify really as a graffiti writer. Like I almost feel like I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm like just a dude who happened to do this thing.
That's just one small part.
Yeah.
Like, you got hella other parts of yourself and shit.
Right,
and
right.
I feel like your art don't really, it's not like hella graph, you know? It's not.
I appreciate you
I
saying
feel
that.
like you've kept it separate in your own way as well. Like,
I mean, all I did was separate the IGs. You know what I mean? Like I put like I was like, okay, this one's for art. This one's for me being like a funny guy. This one's for my, you know what I mean? Like that's all I could do to try and understand it myself. But
I think I don't know. I mean, I'm just telling you from my perspective. I think like the style of your art, it isn't feeling like graffiti, you know?
That's
like,
good, man. That's good.
I feel like, yeah, it's just not.
It's funny because it like conceptually always comes back to graffiti for me, or like in the way that I use colors.
You see bits and pieces of it,
Yeah.
but it's not like, oh, I'm doing a burner on a fucking canvas.
Nah,
you know?
yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing. I definitely will say that. Actually, I can't even definitely say that because it's like when I see some like Lee canvas or something like that, I'm like, okay, that's sick, you know?
Yeah.
I would say that graffiti on canvas it shouldn't be done, but it should be done maybe by just like those guys, like the forefathers or whatnot. They've earned the right to, if you were part of like the first generation of people to present artwork in a gallery setting, then cool. Like, you know what I mean? I can't say anything about that. But if somebody's coming up and they're like, yo, come to my art show, I did a model train or something, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, well, if that's, you know what I'm saying? That's not, I don't know. I guess also the categorization, like who really cares? You know what I mean? Like, it's neither here nor there whether that's fine art to me, you know what I mean? But maybe it's mostly an intent or something, you know what I mean? Like if somebody's reaching for something higher.
I think intent is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
I think certain fools like put in enough work to be able to go and do that. Some fools didn't put in no work and try and do that, and that's the type of shit where I'm kind of just like, you know.
Yeah.
But whatever. I support fools creating no matter what, though. It's just cool when fools like are creative and make shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the same perspective with graffiti. That's what graffiti even taught me, is like, I don't give a fuck like who fools think is good, or like if fools are just straight trash and just picked up some spray paint and just wanted to hit up. Like, it's just the act of doing it, you know. I feel like it's hard, so it's like I support anyone out there trying to go out and fuck shit up. Like,
for
I
sure.
feel like that's cool. Like, we need more fools fucking shit up. So,
do we though?
yeah.
Do we? Like if you take a look
Might
out
as
on the
well
streets right
at this
now.
point.